All right, so I'm just going to go ahead and reopen my basic skeleton underscore characterize. I went ahead and characterize everything that I could, right? So all the my shoulder joint here has been characterized. All my hand joints have been characterized. So I'll go ahead and go to character control window and create my rig. So it's blue box control rig, create. I can also create a control rig from the characterization tool. It will do the same thing. It will take a few seconds because Maya has quite a bit of work to do when creating a control rig. Maya created a control reference, which is the top node, created a bunch of effectors, and it's important to see that it created the effectors for all the left hand, right, which are the ones that I've characterized. So if Maya knows what to do with the joints, meaning it's one of those joints that are, undefined here, but that Maya, is part of the solver, then Maya will go ahead and create an FK joint and an effector. So my shoulder here will be the same thing. My shoulder will not have an effector. It would be not very useful anyways, but it went ahead and gave me an FK joint because I've characterized that particular joint. Before we go any further and before we really start animating, the one thing that's important to know with HIK is that it's not very good with the undo cue, right? If I'm in a regular Maya session and I'll just go ahead, right, and create two spheres, right? You see that the undo cue is really based on the mal commands. I'll just take off echo all command. Sorry, it takes a few seconds. Right. And Maya will undo all the selection. The selection clear, all the selection. If I am in my character control window and I just change and select from the effector to the joint, the effector to the joint, the effector to the joint. The first thing that we see is obviously that's not being spit out by the script editor. And when I start doing my undo, it will very quickly jump to the spheres. So that's the first thing we really need to know, is that a lot of those things that we do in these windows is not spitting a mal command. So once we start trying to put HIK into a pipeline, this is the first problem we're going to be running into. There are ways to go around it, obviously, because at the end of the day, what I'm selecting here is my wrist effector, which when I select it from the outliner, it will be spit out in the script editor. So there are a lot of things that we can work around in Mel, but the undo cue is certainly one of those very strange things in HIK. It doesn't behave the way we would expect it as Maya users. Anyways, I'll go ahead and I'll delete this. So now let's have a quick look at keying groups, because at the end of the day, when we start animating, we're going to define what we want to key, which we have three basic options. We have the selection, the body part, and the full body. You can highlight it here. You can also go right mouse button, HIK mode, full body, body part, or selection. So I'm doing this with the right mouse button. I have a little star here that tells me what I'm in. If I go to full body and have a look here, right? Have a look at the character control window, it will update. So this is one of those nice feedback things that we do get. The marking menu and the character control window do talk to each other on that level. If I am in body part and I select my left wrist, you'll see that everything highlights all the way up to my shoulder. And if I just press S for keyframe, I will get a keyframe on my wrist effector, my thumb, my pinky, so all my hand effector, my shoulder, but also I'll get keyframes on the left arm, so on the joints, or on the FK joints. I'll just undo that. I'll go to selection and just press S again. And you'll see that I'm setting a keyframe on the wrist effector. Because HIK is, an FK and an IK rig that basically feeds my skeleton. So basically feeds the animation to my skeleton here, which is what we're going to get, in the end, which is what's going to be binded to your model. It's not a good idea to work in selection mode because of that reason. Because when we set a key, you want it to set on the IK and on the FK. So selection mode is not something I would recommend unless you really know what you're doing. If I undo this, and if I go to in the full body mode, you'll see that everything gets highlighted. Even my hand here are highlighted. And if I set a key, I will have keyframes on really everything. So that's the first thing we want to know. So now that we've had a quick look at the keying group and the control rig, we're going to continue with the pinning and the translation in the next lesson.